Welcome back. We just had a break. I had some water, a little food with Grace in the dining area, and Grace is looking at me. She says, "You scare me." I said, "I did." What did I say? You know, she refers to uninitiation. I said, "No, Grace." So for the record, I'd like to explain what that means. When you initiated by the perfect level master, you initiated by the perfect level master. When I meant by being initiated, it may take you 30 years. So from the moment you were initiated, it may take you 30 years to really understand what this path is about, or to discover what this path is about. I did not mean or meant you lost the initiation, okay? This is not what I meant. So this is not what I am referring. I'm referring to what Fakir Chand is explaining, Maharaj, for example, and other masters, you know, that they will say, well, I was initiated, this and that, but after that, I became uninitiated because I did not really understand what happened. But after 30 years, my master explained to me and gave me the way how to find out what really happens, you know. So that's what I meant uninitiated. So thank you for this time so I can explain this. I did not, these masters do not mean that you lost the initiation. Although if you were initiated, let's say, by non-perfect master, then sooner or later you will have to be initiated by a perfect living master. There are many masters, 500 plus, or, you know, going looking back. So this is very important in reference to true Nam Dan. That is something very special, and this whole process is very special. You may be initiated, or you were initiated by the master, you receive your 5 words. But if that was not perfectly with the master, this is not a perfect initiation. And then a perfect initiation is, in my understanding, what I learned from my master. This is not, how should I say this? How would you say that, guys? I don't want to cause any misunderstandings. You know, Gurbani says out of 1,000, there's a one who is called to the path, you know, called to the path. Out of 1,000, those who are called to the path, Gurbani says only one will succeed. Now, these are holy scriptures of Sikh holy scriptures. So this is not something I invented. But please understand, to receive true initiation, this is something very, very, very special. Look at that. So going back to to the whole concept of what I mentioned, uninitiated, you know, I didn't mean you literally become uninitiated. What I meant is sometimes we get this initiation and we get instructions, and let's say we're dealing with the perfect living master, and we go through this process, if you want to call it. But we may not understand at that time what is really happening. And many people give up. They do meditation, let's say, they practice as master instructed. The second light, the second sound, and they may not be very happy with their life here too. They expect the master to make everything beautiful and easy and so forth. So when the troubles show themselves in their life, many people lose what you would call lose the faith in the master. They will, and if the master is still alive, they will criticize the master, and then they will criticize the master behind his back. I've seen it. So this is another subject I was thinking to maybe speak about one day. What happened really within the sun god generally when you have the master? Why you have so many different people? Why you have so many different satsangis, and why some are totally devoted and some are not? Some will leave the master after many years for one reason or the other. Some will be unhappy with the master. And then there are many reasons for that. And I'm referring to the perfect living master. Why will the perfect living master allow that? So once you initiated, you receive that type of initiation from PLM. I think Sarvanana was talking about this, if I remember early today, that master takes over everything, this whole concept. Please understand there's a lot more what you guys are saying. What I hear a little bit, what you guys explain in Pranay or Sarvanana, I know you guys, this concept, this concept get a huge expansion once in the different regions, so to speak. Because if we think within our mind that we know everything, I mean, you are for surprise. We are all for surprise. There's even within the kinetic states of consciousness, the show goes on, and the show is like a pendulum. It swings from one extreme to the other extreme. You may be caught up in such a bliss in some of these regions and some of these nirvana states, that you totally get hooked on it. You will have almost impossible to break free from it. But there's something natural about, in the sense that the way this consciousness expresses itself, that within the name and form of these kinetic states of experiences, even if you're in the total bliss of nirvana or something like that, at one point you're going to start, I should explain this, you get tired of it, so to speak, and you will become aware that there's got to be something else. I've been sitting in this asana, on this, this is like a, how should I explain that? You will be seated within the pyramid, on the top of pyramid, let's say, and this asana posture, and you have this nirvana state and so on and so on. But this, see these beautiful lights, and see this, hear these beautiful sounds of the sirens. So, but these are traps. These are not permanent. They hold you in the lower regions. And to be free of that, I just spoke about that half hour ago. So if anyone has a question related to this, to any of this, I will take the question. We're still recording. Does anyone has a question? If no one has a question, I will stop recording. But please understand that this experience is with the perfect living master. These are still duality. The self, there's no concept of the master disciple. That doesn't exist. Okay. So this is the experience going through this state of meditation and going through this experience like in this physical body and so on. But that will end and has to end because this state still within the consciousness, when the master and the disciple are one and the same. And that is a very high state of awareness at that point. But it's not something too easy to live with. Okay. Most people will be crushed because most of us, generally speaking, we're so dependent on the master for everything. We're so dependent on the master for every single aspect of our life. I'm not trying to counteract what Sarvanan was saying or some other are saying. I'm just trying to that we attach to the master totally with every aspect of a physical life and a spiritual life and every aspect of our mind, and that's okay. But looking from my point of view, there's a point when you have to separate yourself from that. And if you don't, it will hold you back. This is something way beyond comprehension of 99.99% of Satsangis. And I will not continue on that because somebody here that from the Sangat of Mr. Puri or others, they will really get upset with what I was saying. But nevertheless, this is true. And then I will say later, Grace. Mm-hmm.
How do we separate ourselves from that, Cezary?
Say what?
How do we separate ourselves from that?
Separate?
Yeah, you'd mentioned about from the mind's point of view, we need to separate ourselves from that.
Do your meditation with love and devotion. These things cannot be explained, okay? I mean, these things, each of us, each of you has to discover this. If I just tell you, let's assume I know what I'm talking about, okay? For myself, okay? And but if I tell you, this will just disturb you too much. Unless you're receptive to that, but that has to be discovered by you. So when it is discovered by you, you go to the master and you ask the master, is this, and this and that, and master will say either yes or no. But this has to be rediscovered within you. There's some aspects master cannot just give you, like on the platter, silver platter, this, especially on the general satsang. Please understand, I just mentioned before, there are two types of satsang. And I would skip all this Sangat meeting each other, having workshop, having this, or some Sangis, more or less advanced, speaking to each other. That's okay. That's a fellowship. That is, but that is the part of the Sangat social consciousness. The true experience of the consciousness, just like the true meditation, the practice of the meditation is an individual issue. You do individually, and in the end, it's just the master in you. So you start from the satsang, like a general satsang, like Mr. Puri was giving, maybe 200 or so, 400 people. But I mean, let's don't kid each other. Sooner or later, you need to fall into the aspect of one-on-one, master and you. That's where the things are really revealed. That's why master to the general satsang may say something, explain something from one point of view, but when you're the master and you discover these things for yourself, master can verify that for you individually or privately, in private. I'm not necessarily talking about well, yeah, when you had when you went for, let's say, interview 3 minutes or so, or 5 minutes with Mr. Puri, you could ask that. But how many people were able to do this? Most people ask master about this and that. Should my daughter go to college, or should I get this job, or should I buy the house in Bruce, or 1 or 2 or 5? Some people bought 5 houses, and those are the issues people went to the master, and some of them went with the real issues. And but when you with the one-on-one with the perfect living master, and you had the opportunity and chance to ask him, he will give you an answer one way or the other. If you didn't, too late now. I did. But by doing that, I also knew I'm taking huge chances, okay? Because a lot of people, even when they go to the master, they somehow will get overwhelmed either with love, or we're kind of intimidated. We have a lower perception of ourselves, or maybe I shouldn't ask the master about this or that. But this is the opportunity. That is why you have a perfect living master. This whole process, if you want to call it, express itself through the living person. When master, when I say that Mr. Puri separated himself from Isha and all these different arrangements and from organization before he passed away, and this and that, when I speak about his will and all this, who has what, who has, that's what I'm speaking about. The master has to be free too from all the arrangements. He's living. So what happened? He's implemented that in someone else. Now that someone else is a headache. Okay. In other words, master will do this process and include the samskaras, and there it goes. The whole process continue, because for this, how do I explain this? Let me use the metaphor. For Sat Purush to express himself, it needs a physical form here, and that physical form, it's someone who is able to handle that state of consciousness. And the minimum he has to handle it, at the times he has to be able to handle that. And there's a lot of requirements, including, he has to have 2 eyes, he has to have 2 arms, 5 fingers, 2 legs, all the organs original inside the body, and things like that. There's a lot of things, involved in this. So even for the pen body, physical body. Now, when you're talking about inner bodies, you just keep going, give you idea. Now, so let's say someone is a sinner. Would that prevent? Let's say someone in this life was a sinner, okay? Would that prevent him from being the perfect living master? Well, I am not going to give you the answer, yes or no, but I'm just giving you kind of some metaphors, trying to unwind your mind about this whole concepts, So, can someone have one eye and be a master, perfect living master in human form, having just missing one eye? There's a lot more than that the eyes can see and the ears can hear, So, but this is so when the master leaves, perfect living master, this has to continue somehow because perfect living master is not here. I mean, you have a memories of him, and you have if you were initiated, you have the radiant form of the master. The whole deal with the eyes and forehead and the rest and the rest and the rest, but ultimately it's all generated. So there's always a need for living person. I'm trying to explain something, tell you something without telling you, and did I answer your question at all? What was the question again? Yeah, most people worry too much, They worry about so many different aspects. Just be careful who you listen to and who you follow, because there are many who make many different claims. They will initiate you, but that doesn't mean you receive the true Namdan. That is reserved for very few. That's why someone like Mr. Pui didn't have that many disciples. And there's a lot more to it. A lot more to it. This is concept of list A, list B, list C, I didn't want to know about all these things, but I have no choice. I have to know about these things. So, but that is my karma. That is my problem, not yours. But there's a lot more going on. So this whole aspect is like very few even understand what that means. Very few understand what the real initiation even is. You either have it or you don't. You either A or this. So these concepts are very tricky. So even the concept of great master initiation and the promise, you do not have to come back. I mean, some people even think you're going straight to Sachkhand, right? That is a misunderstanding, because what it means that you don't have to come back to the physical body, be reborn again. That's what it means, great master initiation. It doesn't mean, that's why there's this whole concept of no more than 4 lifetimes. So many people are initiated by many different masters. What I'm referring to, it's something very controversial, because this has to do with initiations, this has to do with the perfect master, and this has to do with the not perfect master. And this is a taboo. Not for the perfect living master. That is not taboo for PLM. He knows everything, what's going on, who is not, who is whatever. But the PLM will never speak about that, you know. So the perfect living master always supports all these different groups, you know. Mr. Puri even was speaking positively about Ekankar, about MSIA, and about this, you know. Can you go to such country MSIA? No, you can't. This is not the initiation of Ramadan. You know. I'm just giving you an example. So you still have to be initiated. If you went through all the initiation, MSIA, 5 of them or whatever, or some initiations, like I went into Ekankar, and I had more than one, I had to still be initiated in this life by PLM. I was not exempt. So if I was not exempt, why you will be exempt? Why you think you are? Mystical travelers consciousness, like in MSIA, is presented. This is not the consciousness of PLM. You can read exactly where that ends, you know. So if that wasn't the case, then, or in Ekankar, take the 14 initiations. I can get up with in Ekankar with initiates, like 8 initiates and so forth. 15 initiates is like, you know, now you got it made, you know, you in heaven, real, right? No, I mean, I could tell you something Master share with me, but that will, but this is not the time for this, because this has to deal with the other organizations, it has to deal with other teachers or gurus. Some of these teachings, so this they will present the concept of the dream master. Please understand, in Sutra Yoga, as we practice, the dream master, that is the lowest state of consciousness. These are the dreams. So they will do it because everybody dreams, right? And once you implement the samskaras or thought forms in a specific person through the discourses or through in person or anything like that, the mind start operating like that. Let me make one thing clear here, that all this is the negative power. And then at work, this is that will take this compromise the teachings, the real teachings of Sant Mat, and present it in a way to trick you. This is Timir Dut, right? One of the Saka, or the 12 parts of Karan Ranjan. So, but these groups, they do not know that. And I was in it, so I know exactly how it works. I know what it means, how involved you become, how speculated your mind become. But this is also happening in Sant Mat. You can be in the path of Sant Mat and be totally manipulated. So you have to be okay, done. So what I'm trying to say is that let's take another example of healings. Reiki, hands-on healings, distant healings, all of these things. I know personally when people from the Sangha of Mr. Puri who are doing this. And the first explanation will be this: well, I asked the master. Master said, "Okay, you know, do it. We'll do it with love." That is the first expression, and to me. And then they will say, "Also, this is initiated by Mr. Puri, by the way." because I can speak about those who are initiated by Mr. Puri. Sounds that's what we're referring to here in this Ishwar Puri Sanat Mat. I'd rather stay away from the other masters. I do agree with many things they say, though, like Babaji out of Bias. So, well, do it with master told me to do it with love, yes, but the master is addressing the consciousness of the disciple. And please understand that all the healings, anything like that, is granted by negative power, is granted by Kala Naranjan. All of it. And if you take the money, you take the karma. So if I do Reiki and get paid for it, I'm a little taking karma of that person for that reason. Now, that person still have to pay the karma too, although part of it can be transferred to let's say, to me. But the karma is not resolved. Healing happens, but the karma is delayed. And it will accumulate and pound even harder to that person. So, but there's a lot of satsangis who do this, Reiki, and do all this, healings and all these different things, Well, and the explanation of Mr. Puri told me to just do it with love and in his name, and it will be karma free. Okay, that was told you, but that doesn't change that the love comes from negative power. That love, 100%, everything is granted by the negative power. Anything you do, and within the egg of Brahma. Now, many people say, well, the master can arrange this, master can arrange that. You don't know what you're even talking about. How that even works and what is really even happening. Sinchit karma is erased at the Banvar Gufa or this and that. How do you know? Really? So a lot of people make up a lot of different stories. They will say, oh, Mr. Puri told me this, Mr. Puri told me that. Mr. Puri, as a master, told many things to many people. And he may say one thing to one person and something else to the other. In fact, that's how it works. It's an individual path. Depends on your state of awareness or receptivity or consciousness. Masters will address that. So, if your destination is Trikuti, that's what it will be addressed. If your destination is true home, that's how it will be addressed. And this is addressed at the moment of fill the blank now. So negative power will grant you all kind of healings, all kind of things, and will postpone the pralabdha or whatever. That's how it is. Why will master allow that? Because this is the experience the person is seeking. This is the person's desire. And like I said before, what brings you back to reincarnate, it's the desire. So I always try to explain that desire should be for the highest, not for the money, Now, said that, I do not mean we do not take care of this life, because when you awaken this life, when you operate from the center, you are aware of this physical life, and this physical life is real. Don't tell me this is illusion, Don't tell me you don't feel the pain or this and that. So this is real at this moment for you. But for maybe not as real from different perspective. But when you have the kids and the kids are crying, or when you have to feed the family, buy the stuff for the children for school or anything like that, you tell me that's not real. This life, it's real as it can get. But this life will fluctuate between positive and negative, between the beautiful things in this light and be something not as beautiful. There is a horrors in this world too, as we perceive. Please understand this also happened above. All these thought forms created by Shahar Sarada, this 1,000 petal lotus, this is all funnels down to your life. So over there, you make, even the experiences are not permanent. They will fluctuate like a pendulum, and so forth and so forth. So the illusion of it is, I'll get there, everything is going to be kumbaya, my lord, No. Sooner or later, Surat is going to experience this and that. If you're in a state of that kind of bliss or there are all kinds of different stages of bliss, okay? But they are not permanent. They are not permanent. They are all kinetic. They are all subject to change, and they are not permanent. Nothing in this life here, it is a permanent. So as long as we experience this life in the permanent sense, okay, I'm sitting in front of this computer. We're having this satsang. I see my hands. I can touch my hands. They are real. Everything is here real. This is I can knock the wood on this table. So don't become delusional that this is just some kind of illusion and you have no duty to do anything. The things we're seeking, the truth we're seeking, it's way, way beyond. Way beyond. And over there, up there, none of these concepts even exist. Not even the master or disciple. You're in the center of it, and you never move. This is the static state of consciousness as represented within this form, your form, my form. This is what this little fraction of DNA which makes the difference. Otherwise, we will look like a chimpanzee or gorilla. Okay, well, it's only 2%. There's difference between us and some species, or even less. The cow has the same DNA, 80% what you have and I have. So, what is the real difference in this body? Why this body is so special, okay? The banana has like 40 or something. I mean, this DNA, what we're sharing with us. I tell you a joke. Today I was watching a show, Johnny Carson show, and many of you saw probably the movies Planet of the Apes. There was a sequel, Return to the Planet, like 3 or more. But anyway, in that movie, there was this guy looking like orangutan, right? So Johnny Carson has this as a guest. He has him as a guest, and I was we're watching this with Grace today. And he was making not the movie because this will go back to 80s. So, and he was making the movie, so he came over to the show like wearing all this, like this orangutan, the leather here, like like looking like orangutan, like in the movies. So he was explaining that it takes 3 hours to have that makeup, and this is not the mask. And that was so surprising because when you look at the movie, you think, oh, maybe this is some kind of mask. It's not. It's really all glue and put together to the face and so forth. So this is like amazing, this whole teeth 2 inches up front, from. So he's really looking from the close up like a real thing. But Johnny Carson asked him, "How did you get this way? To look like this?" And he said, something like, I was eating banana cakes for 7 months. I was eating bananas for 7 months. This is what happens to me. So I found this very funny. And then and then he said a few jokes. I mean, I can repeat them here, but they're funny, very funny jokes, you know. So he's sitting in this costume, you know, and having this interview, but he really looks like, you know, that professor or whoever he was playing in the in that movie, you know. He looks very real, and he's like a famous, you know, he's famous. He composed music. He composed, you know, the singer and all this, you know. So anyway, on the on the light aspect of life. So let's get delusional that we have no duty in this life. Why why I am having so hammer and screws and everything and being a carpenter. I am assuming the role of the carpenter right now. This is gonna take me months. Right, Grace said, I hope you're gonna finish by spring. No, you said that. So anyway, so
There's
thank you for
question.
are we gonna record these questions or not? Do you guys want to record this or of the record?
This seems like a generic question, Cezary, from a friend who's attending this satsang. He says,
Okay, so
after-
let's stop recording. Okay.